Hi, my name is Tom Haddigan. I'm the author and creator of a new YouTube channel dedicated to education. Today we're looking at the history of expensive chocolates and expensive chocolate. So firstly, you have to guess how expensive any of the following chocolate brands are. Okay, we've got one at the very top. I don't know the original nationality, etc. So this is Toac chocolate. It's known for using rare cacao beans. Toac produces some of the most expensive chocolate bars in the world, but just how expensive are they? I mean, would you need to sell your car in order to be able to buy a bar? Exactly how expensive are these chocolates? Amedei, this is an Italian chocolatier. They use very high quality cocoa beans from around the world to create exquisite chocolates. This is an American chocolatier, but it has a French, Austrian, or German name, Vosgerhau Chocolat. Okay, this is an American firm, but they choose either a French or French-German branding. How expensive are these? This firm is known for its innovative flavors and unique ingredient combinations. Number 4, D'Amore. This is an Italian chocolatier that specializes in single origin chocolates. How expensive are they? Godiva. This is a Belgian chocolatier that is known for chocolates and truffles. How expensive are they? And Pierre Marcolini. This is a Belgian chocolate maker known for innovative flavors and beautiful packaging. How expensive are they? Fauchon is a French luxury brand. How expensive are they? La Maison du Chocolat is a French chocolatier. How expensive are they? Dabove and Gallet is a French chocolatier. How expensive are they? They've been making chocolate since 1754. And Charbonnel et Walker. That's a British chocolatier with a French-German sounding name. How expensive are they? Okay, well, we're going to look at expensive chocolates a little bit later. Okay, let's make a start. So I'm going to play a podcast for you now. Bear with me for 1 minute.
Welcome, everybody, to a deep dive. And this time, it's about something I think we all love. Chocolate.
No, who doesn't love chocolate?
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
I know everyone loves the taste of chocolate,
Yeah.
but today we're going beyond that.
That's right.
We're going to go behind the scenes with this book, The Story of Chocolate.
Okay.
Now, it might look like a kid's book,
It does, yeah.
but trust me, it is packed with fascinating history.
Absolutely.
Like, for instance, did you know that the Mayans used cocoa beans as currency?
It's true.
Wild.
Yeah.
So to get us started,
Okay.
could you give us a sense of where and when this story takes place?
Yeah, so our chocolate adventure really begins in Mesoamerica. And that's an area that covers parts of present-day Mexico and Central America. And that's where the cacao tree, the source of those precious cocoa beans, first flourished. We're talking about a history that spans thousands of years, from ancient civilizations like the Olmecs and Mayans, all the way to the arrival of Europeans and the development of modern chocolate production as we know it today.
Wow. So that's a huge chunk of time.
It is.
But let's picture the starting point. I'm imagining dense rainforests,
Yeah.
cacao trees. What's it like?
So picture this. You're in a lush rainforest, the air is thick and humid, and sunlight is filtering through a canopy of leaves. Down below, you find the cacao tree. And what's fascinating is that these trees actually produce flowers directly on their trunks and branches.
Directly on the trunk.
Directly on the trunk.
Wow, that's unexpected.
I know. Nature is full of surprises.
Yeah.
Tiny insects called midges pollinate these flowers, and eventually pods about the size of melons grow. Each pod contains around 40 cocoa beans surrounded by a sticky pulp, and those beans are the heart of our chocolate story.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think that those rainforest pods become the chocolate we enjoy.
It is.
But who were the first to discover the potential of these beans?
Well, evidence suggests that the Olmec civilization, they thrived in Mesoamerica from around 1200 to 200 BCE, were actually the first to use cocoa beans. While the specifics of how they used them remain a mystery, their use really marked the beginning of humanity's love affair with chocolate.
So this was way before chocolate bars or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What do they do with the beans?
Well, they likely ground them into a paste, mixed it with water, maybe adding spices. It was a far cry from the sweet treat that we're used to. Think bitter water, which is actually close to what the word chocolat means in the Nahuatl language.
Chocolat, so that's where we get the word chocolate from.
Exactly.
Right.
That's it.
And this makes sense considering the Aztecs, who came after the Mayans, preferred their version of this drink cold.
Uh-huh.
The Mayans, on the other hand, they liked it hot.
That's right.
But both cultures recognized the value of cocoa beans beyond just a beverage.
Yeah,
They even used them as currency.
that's right.
Imagine it's for groceries with cocoa beans.
I know. That is a concept.
So that's wild, using cocoa beans as money.
Yeah.
Must have had a big impact on their economy.
Absolutely. The Aztecs in particular prized cocoa beans very highly. They collected taxes in the form of these beans, and their rulers actually amassed huge stores of them. Legend has it that Emperor Montezuma had a staggering amount, over 960 million cocoa beans.
Whoa. That's an incredible amount of wealth.
I know.
And speaking of wealth, I can't help but think about how the Europeans must have reacted when they first arrived in the Americas
Yeah.
and discovered this chocolate gold mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're right to think that. The arrival of Europeans really marked a turning point in chocolate history. Christopher Columbus, on his fourth voyage in 1502, was actually the first European to encounter cocoa beans. He came across a Mayan trading canoe and took their cargo, which included those almonds, as Columbus's son described them in his writings.
So Columbus brought these almonds back to Europe,
Uh-huh.
sparking the chocolate craze.
Well, surprisingly, no. Columbus and the Spanish king, they were so focused on gold and other treasures that they completely overlooked the significance of those little brown beans. It's like finding a winning lottery ticket and using it as a bookmark.
Yeah.
It took another explorer, Hernando Cortez, who arrived in Mexico in 1519, to truly understand the potential of cocoa.
So how did Cortez discover the importance of these seemingly insignificant beans?
Well, during his conquest of the Aztec Empire, Cortez was served chocolatl by Emperor Montezuma himself.
Okay.
And Cortez quickly realized the economic and social value that these beans held within the Aztec society.
Yeah, I can see why Cortez would be impressed by the sheer quantity of cocoa beans representing vast wealth.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine the bitter drink was very appealing to him at first.
You're right. The Spanish found the taste too bitter initially, but they soon made a key change. They added sugar.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
The birth of sweet chocolate.
Exactly. With that simple addition, chocolate transformed from a bitter drink into a sweet indulgence. And it quickly became a favorite among the Spanish aristocracy, who kept it a closely guarded secret for almost a century.
A whole century.
Almost a century.
I guess there were no social media influencers back then to spill the beans.
Right.
But eventually word got out.
It did, though not without some amusing hiccups along the way.
Okay.
There's a story about English pirates capturing a Spanish ship carrying cocoa beans. Unfamiliar with the cargo, they mistook the beans for, wait for it, sheep droppings.
They thought those valuable beans were sheep poop.
That's the legend.
Oh, man.
And to make matters worse, they supposedly burned them. Imagine their surprise if they knew the treasure they were destroying.
Wow.
Eventually, though, chocolate made its way across Europe.
Okay.
By the mid-1600s, chocolate houses were popping up everywhere, becoming the trendy spots to enjoy this exotic new drink.
So chocolate went from a bitter Mayan drink to a fashionable drink for the European elite.
It did!
What a journey.
And it was about to undergo even more dramatic transformations as technology started to revolutionize chocolate production.
Okay, I'm ready to hear about how technology changed the chocolate game. What happened next?
Well, in the 1700s, a key invention came along that would change the chocolate world forever. The steam engine.
Ah, the steam engine.
Yeah.
I remember learning about its impact on the Industrial Revolution.
Yes.
How did it affect chocolate production?
A Scottish inventor named James Watt, he developed a much more efficient and powerful steam engine. And it wasn't long before someone realized its potential for chocolate. Steam-powered grinders made the process much faster and more efficient, leading to cheaper chocolate. And this meant that more people could enjoy it.
Cheaper chocolate.
Yes.
What a game changer.
I know.
But we're still talking about that somewhat gritty, bitter drink
There are.
at this point, right?
You're right. However, in 1828, a Dutch chemist named Conrad van Houten, he invented a press that could separate cocoa butter from the cocoa mass, leading to a smoother and tastier chocolate.
Okay, cocoa butter and cocoa mass. Can you remind me what those are exactly?
Think of it this way. Cocoa beans have two main components, right? Cocoa solids and cocoa butter.
Okay.
Cocoa butter is a fatty substance that gives chocolate its slightly greasy texture. Van Houten's press essentially squeezed out a lot of that excess cocoa butter, resulting in a smoother, richer chocolate that mixed better with water.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So this is getting closer to the chocolate we know and love,
It is.
but still no solid chocolate bars, right?
Not quite yet, but that delicious development was just around the corner thanks to the Fry family in England.
Fry's chocolate.
Mhm.
They've been around for a long time.
They have.
What was their big innovation?
They were true pioneers. In the 1840s, they came up with the brilliant idea of combining cocoa powder, sugar, and most importantly, melted cocoa butter. Instead of water, they used that separated cocoa butter we talked about earlier. They poured this mixture into molds, let it cool and harden, and voila, the first solid evening chocolate was born.
Finally, the chocolate bar.
Yes.
That must have been a huge moment for chocolate lovers.
Huge. This paved the way for endless possibilities. Suddenly, you could mold chocolate into different shapes, add fillings, experiment with textures and flavors. It was truly a turning point.
Yeah, it sounds like the floodgates of chocolate creativity were officially open.
Officially open.
So what happened next in this chocolate revolution?
Well, as you can imagine, the chocolate business just exploded.
Yep.
New companies popped up, and chocolate became more affordable and accessible to everyone. It was even marketed as a healthy and nutritious food.
I can picture those old-timey ads.
Oh, yeah.
Promoting chocolate as a wholesome treat for the whole family.
You're not far off.
Yeah.
And some companies stood out for their ethical practices, too.
Oh, tell me about these chocolate pioneers.
Well, in England, you had companies like Cadbury's and Rowntree's, family-run businesses that really prioritized the well-being of their workers. They even built entire towns for their employees with housing, schools, and recreational facilities.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know, right? Talk about putting their money where their chocolate is.
Yeah, seriously.
They were ahead of their time in terms of corporate social responsibility.
Yeah.
But beyond ethics, there were still more innovations to come. Until the late 1800s, all chocolate was what we now call dark chocolate. But then, Switzerland became the epicenter of yet another chocolate revolution.
Switzerland.
Yes.
Land of cheese, watches, and chocolate.
Exactly. In 1875, Henri Nestlé, famous for his condensed milk, was working on a new product. His partner, Daniel Peter, suggested adding this condensed milk to chocolate, and thus, milk chocolate was born.
It's hard to imagine a world without milk chocolate.
It is.
But I'm guessing the journey doesn't stop there.
You're right. Just a few years later, another Swiss chocolatier, Rudolf Lindt, invented the Conche.
The conch, what's that?
It's a machine with large rollers that knead the chocolate for hours, sometimes even days. This process smooths out the chocolate, removing any grittiness and creating that melt-in-your-mouth texture we all crave.
Yeah, so that's the secret to that silky smooth chocolate experience.
That's it.
The conch really changed the texture game. So from those rainforests to the factories of Europe, chocolate has come a long way.
It really has.
But what about chocolate in America? When did it become the chocolate powerhouse we know today?
That's where Milton Hershey enters the picture in the early 20th century.
Hershey's chocolate. Now we're talking.
You got it. Milton Hershey wanted to bring affordable milk chocolate to everyone. In 1905, he opened a massive chocolate factory in Pennsylvania, a perfect location with plenty of fresh milk for his signature milk chocolate bars.
And those milk chocolate bars were a hit.
Oh, absolutely. Hershey's milk chocolate with almonds was one of his first big successes. But Hershey was more than just a chocolate maker. He was a brilliant entrepreneur and philanthropist. He built an entire town for his workers called, you guessed it, Hershey, Pennsylvania. It had everything. Housing, schools, parks, even an amusement park.
An amusement park.
And an amusement park.
That's taking the chocolate dream to a whole new level.
It really was a chocolate utopia. Even today, the town of Hershey reflects his legacy, with streets named after chocolate and streetlights shaped like Hershey's kisses.
That's incredible.
It is.
So Hershey really put American chocolate on the map.
For sure.
But this can't be the end of our chocolate story.
It's not.
Where do we go from Hershey's Chocolate Town?
Well, from there, we enter the era of mass production and global chocolate empires. We'll explore how chocolate made its way to every corner of the world and how new trends and ideas have shaped the industry we know today. Buckle up, because the chocolate adventure continues.
So we've journeyed from ancient Mesoamerica to the rise of those European chocolate houses and the birth of the modern chocolate bar in America.
We have.
I'm ready to explore what happened next.
Okay, well, our chocolate story continues to evolve. Remember those cacao trees we talked about earlier?
Mm-hmm.
They're now grown on plantations all over the world in any region with a warm, humid climate.
So way beyond those original rainforests.
Exactly. We see vast plantations in Africa, Asia, and South America all working to meet that global demand for chocolate.
And that demand is huge.
Huge. Think about it. Billions of chocolate bars are eaten every year.
Billions. Wow, it seems those cacao trees have their work cut out for them.
They do.
What does modern cocoa farming look like? Is it all high-tech machinery?
Well, here's where it gets interesting. Despite all the advances in technology, cocoa farming is still very much a hands-on process.
Really?
Yeah, those delicate cacao pods need to be harvested by hand, carefully cut from the trees to avoid damage.
So it's not as simple as just plucking them off a branch.
Not at all. Workers use machetes to carefully cut the pods from the branches, and then they split them open with wooden mallets to extract the beans and the surrounding pulp.
I'm starting to realize that chocolate bar I grab at the store represents a lot of hard work.
It's us.
So what happens to the beans after they're harvested?
Well, the next step is crucial. Fermentation. The beans and pulp are piled together and covered, which allows natural yeasts and bacteria to break down the sugars and develop those complex flavors we associate with chocolate.
Fermentation.
Yes.
So that's what gives chocolate its distinct flavor. I had no idea.
It's a key part of the process.
What happens after fermentation?
Well, the beans are spread out to dry in the sun, soaking up that tropical heat. Once dried, they're ready to be shipped to chocolate factories around the world.
Okay, so from plantation to factory, the journey continues.
Yeah.
Is this where the high-tech equipment comes in?
Absolutely. Upon arrival, the beans are cleaned and roasted to further enhance their flavor.
Okay.
Then the shells are removed, leaving behind what are called the nibs, the heart of the cocoa bean.
Nibs.
Yeah,
So that's what ultimately becomes chocolate.
precisely. The nibs are ground into a thick paste called cocoa liquor,
Cocoa liquor.
which, despite its name, doesn't contain any alcohol.
Good to know. Haha. For a minute there, I thought we were adding a whole new layer to this chocolate adventure.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happens to the cocoa liquor? Well, this is where the path diverges, leading to different types of chocolate.
Okay.
Some cocoa liquor is pressed to separate the cocoa butter from the cocoa solids.
We're back to cocoa butter and cocoa solids.
Yeah,
Can you refresh my memory on how they make different kinds of chocolate?
of course. So dark chocolate is made by combining cocoa solids, cocoa butter, and sugar. Milk chocolate, as we discussed earlier, includes milk powder or condensed milk in the mix.
Okay.
And white chocolate, which some argue isn't truly chocolate, uses cocoa butter, sugar, and milk solids, but no cocoa solids at all.
Right. That's why white chocolate tastes so different. It's missing those cocoa solids.
Exactly.
But whether it's milk, dark, or white, all chocolate goes through that conching process to create that smooth texture, right?
Yeah, exactly. That conching process, with its large rollers kneading the chocolate for hours, is essential for achieving that melt-in-your-mouth smoothness. It refines those tiny particles and eliminates any grittiness, resulting in the decadent texture we all love.
It's amazing how something that starts as a simple bean from a rainforest pod can be transformed into something so smooth and luxurious.
It truly is a testament to the ingenuity and artistry of chocolate makers over the centuries. And remember, once the chocolate has been conched to perfection, it's ready to be shaped into all those delicious forms we find in stores, from bars and truffles to chocolate-covered nuts and fruits.
I'm starting to get hungry just thinking about all the possibilities.
Yeah, me too.
But amidst all this talk about mass production and global demand, I can't help but wonder about the cocoa farmers themselves.
Yeah.
Are they benefiting from this chocolate boom?
That's a very important question. And it's one that has sparked a lot of debate within the chocolate industry. Unfortunately, for a long time, many cocoa farmers struggled to make a living, often working in challenging conditions for very low wages.
That's so disheartening to hear,
It is.
considering how much money is being made from their hard work.
Yes, it's a complex issue.
Yeah.
However, there's a growing movement towards creating a more equitable and sustainable chocolate industry.
Okay.
Consumers are becoming more conscious of where their food comes from and demanding transparency and fairness within the chocolate supply chain.
That's encouraging.
It is.
So what are some ways that the industry is working to be more ethical and sustainable?
Well, one initiative is fair trade certification.
Okay.
Fair trade chocolate ensures farmers receive a fair price for their beans, allowing them to reinvest in their farms, communities, and families.
That's fantastic. So if I want to make ethical choices, I should look for the fair trade label on chocolate.
Exactly. It's a good sign that the chocolate was produced with the well-being of the farmers in mind. But fair trade isn't the only thing to consider.
What else should we be looking for?
Well, organic farming practices are another crucial aspect of ethical chocolate. Organic cocoa is grown without harmful pesticides or herbicides, making it better for the environment, the farmers, and consumers.
Fair trade and organic. Two important things to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
So are there other factors to consider in making ethical chocolate choices?
Yes, there are. For example, some companies are going a step further by implementing direct trade practices. They build relationships directly with cocoa farmers, ensuring even greater transparency and fair compensation.
That's impressive.
It is.
It sounds like they're really committed to making a positive impact.
Yeah, and this shift towards greater transparency and ethical practices is being driven by consumers like you. The more we ask questions about where our chocolate comes from and how it's made, the more pressure there is on chocolate companies to do the right thing.
It's empowering to know that our choices can influence an entire industry.
It is.
But before we get too serious, let's remember that chocolate is, at its core, all about enjoyment and indulgence. So what are some of the exciting trends happening in the chocolate world today?
Oh, there's so much happening. The chocolate world is incredibly diverse and innovative right now. We're seeing a rise in single-origin chocolate bars, which highlight the unique flavors of beans from specific regions. It's similar to how wines have specific characteristics based on where the grapes are grown.
So each bar of single-origin chocolate tells a story about its place of origin.
Exactly. Each region has its own unique soil, climate, and even traditions that influence the final flavor of the chocolate.
That's really cool.
It is.
It's a fascinating way to experience the nuances of chocolate.
It is. And then there's the world of artisanal chocolatiers who are constantly pushing the boundaries of creativity.
Yeah, I'm thinking of those incredibly intricate chocolate sculptures I've seen.
Yes.
They're like edible works of art.
They truly are. These chocolatiers use molds, airbrushing, and even 3D printing to create edible masterpieces.
Wow.
They're incorporating exotic spices, fruits, flowers, and even savory elements into their creations, resulting in flavor combinations that are both surprising and delightful.
It's amazing how chocolate can be both an ancient, traditional food and a modern, innovative ingredient.
Yeah, it truly is. And that's part of what makes chocolate so captivating. It's a food that's been enjoyed for centuries, yet it continues to surprise and delight us with its endless possibilities.
Well said.
So now, having explored the history and production of chocolate, I think it's time to shift our focus to the science and health aspects of this beloved treat.
Okay, I'm ready for a deeper dive into the science of chocolate.
All right.
What secrets does it hold?
Well, remember those cocoa solids we've been talking about? They're not just responsible for that rich chocolate flavor.
Yeah.
They also contain compounds that may actually have health benefits.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Tell me more about these health-boosting compounds.
Well, one group that's gotten a lot of attention is flavonoids, and those are antioxidants found in many plant-based foods.
Oh, I've heard of antioxidants.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be good for, like, fighting off those harmful free radicals in our bodies, right?
Exactly. Antioxidants protect our cells from damage, which is essential for overall health. Studies suggest that the flavonoids in cocoa may have particular benefits for cardiovascular health, brain function, and even mood.
Wait, are you telling me chocolate could be good for my heart, brain, and mood?
It's important to note that research is ongoing,
Okay.
and we can't make definitive claims about chocolate being a cure-all,
Right.
but the evidence is compelling.
Right.
Moderate consumption of dark chocolate, which is higher in cocoa solids, could potentially offer some health advantages.
So we're talking about dark chocolate, not those super sugary milk chocolate bars loaded with extra ingredients.
You got it. The key is choosing dark chocolate that's high in cocoa solids, at least 70%, and low in added sugar.
Good to know. I'll be checking those labels more closely from now on.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, if those cocoa solids are so good for us, why do we add all that sugar and other stuff to chocolate?
Well, as we've seen throughout this deep dive, chocolate has a long history of being a treat and a source of indulgence. And those added sugars and cream textures definitely enhance the sensory experience of chocolate.
Yeah, it's all about finding that balance between enjoyment and moderation.
Exactly.
Speaking of moderation, how much dark chocolate is a healthy amount?
Well, that's best discussed with a healthcare professional, of course.
Right.
But as a general guideline, most experts recommend a small square or two per day
Okay.
that allows you to enjoy the potential benefits without overdoing the calories or sugar.
Okay, that sounds like a plan I can get behind. So we've covered the history, production, and even some potential health benefits of chocolate.
We have.
Where do we go from here?
I think it's time to shift gears from science to the artistry of chocolate.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
What do you mean by the artistry of chocolate?
Well, beyond the mass-produced chocolates, there's a whole world of artisans pushing the boundaries of what's possible with chocolate.
That's so cool.
It is.
It's like chocolate is a medium for culinary expression.
Exactly. These artisans are like sculptors, painters, and even perfumers using chocolate to create edible masterpieces.
You're making me want to run out and try some of these creations. What kind of things are we talking about?
Well, there are bean-to-bar chocolate makers who source high-quality beans from specific regions, creating chocolates that showcase the unique characteristics of those beans.
That reminds me of how wine connoisseurs talk about the terroir of wine.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same concept?
You're absolutely right. Just like with wine, chocolate's flavor is influenced by the soil, climate, and even the traditions of the region where the beans are grown.
Wow.
Bean-to-bar makers highlight these nuances, creating chocolates that are complex, layered, and truly reflect their origins.
So it's like each bar tells a story about its journey from bean to bar.
Exactly. And then there are chocolatiers who experiment with flavors, textures, and shapes, creating visually stunning and delicious chocolates.
Yeah, I've seen those amazing chocolate sculptures. They look almost too beautiful to eat.
They really do. These chocolatiers use molds, airbrushing, and even 3D printing to create their works of art. They incorporate exotic spices, fruits, flowers, and even savory elements, resulting in unexpected and delightful flavor combinations.
It's amazing how chocolate can be both this ancient, traditional food and a modern, cutting-edge ingredient.
It truly is. Chocolate's ability to constantly evolve and reinvent itself is part of what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah,
It's a food that has been enjoyed for centuries, yet it still has the power to surprise us.
well said.
Ta.
I feel like we've covered so much ground in our chocolate exploration, from the rainforest to the factories and the artisans pushing the boundaries of chocolate creation.
We have.
We've uncovered the secrets behind chocolate production, explored its potential health benefits, and even delved into the artistry and cultural significance of this beloved treat.
It's been quite the journey, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning of our chocolate adventures.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn, more flavors to experience, and more stories to uncover in the world of chocolate.
I completely agree. This deep dive has given me a whole new appreciation for every piece of chocolate I enjoy.
Oh!
After learning so much about chocolate, I'm suddenly craving a piece.
Yeah.
Especially those dark chocolate varieties with all those potential health benefits you mentioned.
Right.
Yeah. So since we're wrapping up our chocolate deep dive,
Okay.
why not indulge in a little mindful chocolate tasting?
Ooh, I like that. Mindful chocolate tasting.
Yeah.
Think of it as like a meditation for chocolate lovers.
Oh,
Instead of focusing on your breath, you'll be focusing on all those amazing flavors and textures.
I'm all in. What do I need to do?
All right, so first, choose a piece of good quality dark chocolate. The higher the percentage of cocoa solids, the better.
Okay.
Now take a moment to really look at it. The color, the shape, the surface.
Okay.
Notice any details or imperfections.
Okay. I'm looking at this dark chocolate bar. It's got a beautiful deep brown color
Mm-hmm.
and a smooth, almost velvety surface.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now hold it up to your nose and take a deep breath. What do you smell?
I'm getting a rich, earthy aroma
Mm-hmm.
with hints of roasted nuts
Okay.
and maybe even a touch of coffee.
Excellent. Now, break off a small piece and place it on your tongue.
Okay.
Let it melt slowly without chewing.
Right?
Pay close attention to the flavors as they emerge. Fruity, earthy, spicy. What do you taste?
Wow. It's amazing how many flavors I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
Like I taste a bit of citrus,
Okay.
a hint of bitterness,
Yeah.
and a deeper, almost smoky flavor.
Nice. Now, gently begin to chew, noticing how the texture changes as the chocolate melts.
Okay.
How does it feel?
It starts out smooth, and then as I chew,
Yeah.
I can feel those tiny particles.
Mm.
It's like an explosion of flavor and texture.
See how the flavors change as you chew?
Yeah.
Do new notes appear?
Yeah.
Does the sweetness or bitterness intensify?
I'm definitely noticing like a warmth,
Uh-huh.
a slightly spicy note that
Mm.
wasn't there before.
Okay.
And the sweetness is definitely getting stronger as I chew.
Finally. Swallow and savor the lingering taste.
Okay.
What sensations are left behind?
I feel this wonderful warmth, like spreading through me,
Uh-huh.
and a sweetness that lingers on my tongue.
Hmm.
That was incredible.
Right.
I never thought about chocolate this way before.
It's amazing how much depth and complexity we can find in a single piece of chocolate when we really slow down and savor it.
I feel like I've unlocked a whole new way to experience chocolate.
I'm so glad to hear that. So as we finish up our chocolate deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
We've seen how chocolate has played so many roles throughout history: currency, a sacred offering, a symbol of luxury, and even a potential source of health benefits. But ultimately, chocolate is a food that connects us to nature, to history, and to each other.
I love that idea. Chocolate is like a thread that weaves through time and cultures,
Yeah,
bringing people together.
exactly. So the next time you enjoy a piece of chocolate, think about its journey from the cacao tree to you
Yeah.
and appreciate all those who helped bring this delicious treat into your life.
What a perfect way to end our chocolate adventure.
It has been fun.
To all our listeners, keep exploring the world of chocolate. Try new flavors, support ethical producers, maybe even try making your own creations.
Yes,
The possibilities are endless.
they are.
Embrace the world of chocolate with open hearts and curious minds. And don't forget to check out the book that inspired this deep dive, The Story of Chocolate. It's full of fascinating information and beautiful pictures that will delight any chocolate
It's
enthusiast.
just a great book.
Until next time, happy chocolate adventures.
May your days be filled with sweet discoveries.
Okay, let's have a look at and see what we've actually been listening to. So these are some frequently asked questions about chocolate. So question number 1, what's the history of chocolate? Well, the history of chocolate can be traced back to the ancient Olmec civilization in Mesoamerica, which is present-day Mexico and Central America. They were likely the first to discover the cacao tree and its beans. Later, the Mayans and the Aztecs cultivated cacao trees and created a bitter chocolate drink called chocolate, which was reserved for special occasions and used as currency. That's amazing. So chocolate, the original chocolate drink, was very bitter fluid. And they used to use the cacao beans for currency. Now, European explorers, beginning with Christopher Columbus in the early 16th century, brought cacao beans back to Europe, where the drink gained popularity. And eventually it evolved into the sweet, solid chocolate we know today. So how is chocolate made? Well, chocolate production begins with harvesting ripe cacao pods from cacao trees. The beans and pulp inside the pods are fermented and dried. At the factories, beans are cleaned, roasted, and they are hulled to extract the nib. Nibs are ground into a paste called cocoa mass, which is pressed to separate cocoa butter. Now, for cocoa powder, the cocoa mass is further ground. For chocolate bars, cocoa mass is mixed with sugar and cocoa butter, and milk for milk chocolate, conched to achieve a smooth texture and tempered for the desired snap. Now, the chocolate is then molded, filled, and cooled to create various chocolate treats. So what are the different types of chocolate? Well, the main types of chocolate are dark chocolate or plain chocolate made from cocoa mass, cocoa butter, and sugar. It has a more intense, slightly bitter flavor. Milk chocolate contains added milk solids, resulting in a sweeter, creamier taste. White chocolate includes cocoa butter, sugar, and milk solids, but no cocoa mass. It has a sweet, buttery flavor and is technically not considered real chocolate. So let's just emphasize that. Dark chocolate and milk chocolate are considered real chocolate. White chocolate is not considered to be real chocolate. So what are cocoa solids and cocoa butter? Well, cocoa solids refers to the combination of cocoa mass and cocoa butter. The percentage of cocoa solids in chocolate determines its intensity and flavor. Dark chocolate generally has a higher percentage of cocoa solids than milk chocolate. Cocoa butter is the natural fat extracted from the cocoa beans. It gives chocolate its smooth texture and melt in your mouth quality. So what is fair trade? This is a 20th century development for chocolate manufacturers, developers, growers. So what is fair trade chocolate? Fair trade chocolate is produced under ethical and sustainable practice. This means that the cacao farmers receive a fair price for their beans, ensuring better living and working conditions. Choosing a fair trade chocolate supports a more equitable and sustainable chocolate industry. So what are the health benefits of chocolate? Well, chocolate should be consumed in moderation due to its sugar and fat content. Dark chocolate in particular has been linked to some health benefits. The cocoa solids in dark chocolate contain antioxidants which may have positive effects on heart health and blood pressure. However, it's important to choose dark chocolate with a high percentage of cocoa solids and minimal added sugar. Okay, this is a little bit of an aside, but what is the significance of the town Hershey in Pennsylvania? Well, Hershey, Pennsylvania is renowned as the home of the Hershey Chocolate Company, founded by Milton Hershey in the early 20th century. Hershey not only built a large chocolate factory, but also created a model town for his workers with amenities like housing, schools, and recreational facilities. The town became a popular tourist destination and remains closely associated with chocolate production and the Hershey brand. Okay, so what are some interesting facts about chocolate? Well, the scientific name for the cacao tree is Theobroma cacao. It means the food of the gods, which is amazing. Chocolate was once used as a currency by the Mayans and Aztecs, which is absolutely amazing. The average person consumes approximately 9 kilograms, which is 20 pounds of chocolate per year. Chocolate was initially a bitter drink before sugar was added to sweeten it. Switzerland is famous for its high quality chocolate, particularly milk chocolate. White chocolate does not contain cocoa mass and is therefore not considered true chocolate by some. So here are some ways in which cultural perceptions of chocolate have changed over the time. The story of chocolate begins in Mesoamerica, where the Olmec and Mayan people first cultivated cacao trees. They used cacao beans to make a bitter drink called chocolate, which was often flavored with chilies or vanilla. Both cultures prized cacao beans and used them as money and as offerings to the gods. When European explorers arrived in the 16th century, they brought cacao beans back to Europe, where the drink gained popularity, especially among the wealthy. Now, what about the evolution of taste and consumption? Well, initially, Europeans found the taste of chocolate bitter and added sugar to sweeten it. Over time, chocolate became a fashionable drink enjoyed in chocolate houses. But the invention of the steam engine and chocolate press in the 18th and 19th century made chocolate production more efficient and affordable, allowing people from all social classes to enjoy it. Then there was the transition from drink to solid form. In the 19th century, innovations led to the creation of solid chocolate. Fry's Chocolate Company, based in the USA, produced the first chocolate bar in the 1840s. The invention of milk chocolate by Henri Nestlé and Daniel Peter in 1875, followed by the development of the Concha machine for smoother chocolate by Rudolf Lindt, further revolutionized the chocolate industry. So what about marketing and modern perceptions? Well, by the late 19th and early 20th century, chocolate companies like Cadbury, Mars, Nestle and Hershey began mass producing and marketing various chocolate treats. Chocolate became associated with celebration, gifts, indulgence. While modern chocolate is often seen as a sweet treat, awareness of the ethical and sustainable aspects of cacao farming is growing, leading to the promotion of fair trade chocolate. Health perceptions. Throughout history, chocolate has been perceived differently in terms of health. While Europeans initially thought it was beneficial, modern perspectives are more nuanced. The sources suggest that while the cocoa solids in chocolate might have health benefits, excessive sugar and other additives can be unhealthy. So the sources highlight a fascinating journey of how chocolate evolved from a bitter sacred drink in Mesoamerica to a global phenomenon enjoyed in various forms. Cultural perceptions have shifted along technological advancements, marketing strategies, and involving understandings of taste and health. Okay, a couple of really important key innovations in the 19th century. Okay, the two key innovations in the 19th century chocolate production were the invention of the chocolate press to the left and the concha machine. Now, Dutch chemist Conrad van Houten invented the chocolate press in 1828. The machine separates the cocoa butter from the cocoa mass, resulting in a less greasy chocolate that mixed better with water. Before this invention, the fat in cocoa butter made chocolate drinks oily and difficult to blend smoothly. And then Rudolf Lindt invented the concha machine in Switzerland in 1879. This is a modern version of a concha machine. This machine used rollers that moved back and forth over the chocolate mixture, creating friction and heat. This action broke down the cocoa solids into much smaller particles, creating a smoother, more velvety chocolate. Before the invention of the concha, chocolate was coarser and more gritty. These two innovations helped transform chocolate from a luxury beverage to a widely available and affordable treat. They led to the development of new types of chocolate, such as solid eating chocolate and smoother, more refined chocolate drinks. Now, we looked at some early examples of allegedly expensive chocolates, but let's look at the most expensive chocolates currently available. Okay, well, Toac featured in the other list. So Toac Chocolate Masters Series. This is an Ecuadorian chocolate bar, and it's made from a rare Nacional cacao beans, and this will cost you $490 for a 50-gram bar. I mean, you could actually get a second-hand car for that, I imagine. So this is supremely ultra expensive. Is it a triumph of style over value? Yeah, yes, I think it is. Amadei Porcelana chocolate bar. This is an Italian chocolate bar. It's made from Criollo beans, and it's known for its smooth and delicate flavor. It costs about $18.99 for a 50-gram bar. That's more reasonable. I wouldn't be too happy to be eating too much of the Toac chocolate at that price. House of Nipschilt La Madeleine is an American chocolate truffle, and it's markets at $250 each. De La Fay Gold Swiss Chocolate Box. This Swiss chocolate box contains a variety of handcrafted pralines and ganaches made from the finest cocoa beans. It is priced about $1,000 per box. That is simply amazing. Now, Varona Bahib milk chocolate bar. This costs about $15 for a 100-gram bar. And Valrhona Albineo 85% dark chocolate bar. This French chocolate bar is made from Forastero cocoa beans from Africa and is known for its intense bitterness. It costs $15 for a 100-gram bar. Godiva Gold Ballotins. This Belgian chocolate costs about 0.21 or 0.21 dollars per gram. And Fauchon Grand Cru Selection. The French chocolate box contains a variety of chocolates made from rare and exotic cocoa beans. It is priced at about $100 per box. Damori Chow 70% dark chocolate bar costs about $15 for a 100-gram bar. And the Vosges Hout Chocolate Black Pearl. This American chocolate bar is priced at around $10 for a 60-gram bar. So I hope you enjoyed that presentation. This is Tom Hadigan. This is my education channel. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please like, please subscribe, and please leave a comment.